The following is a production of MSGPR, the source for all your Lufkin Panther media.
Good morning and welcome, Panther fans. Welcome to a special edition of Lufkin Panther TV. This morning we're sitting here with Coach Todd Quick, the athletic director and head football coach for the Lufkin Panthers. Welcome, Coach.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Coach, we know that we've been seeing you around Lufkin High School for the last 15, 16 years. I know that you had been with Coach Outlaw for 26 years is what I'm told, but I think your history actually goes back a little further than that when y'all were on opposing sides or something other like that. You want to elaborate a little bit about that?
Yeah, in 1979, that was his first year to become the head football coach at Arkadelphia, and I played at Malvern. This is in Arkansas. And a big rivalry. We played them twice that year, played them once in the regular season and once in the semifinals. So that's when our first contact came with him, and they beat us in the semifinals that year and went on the next week to win the state championship that year. So I knew right then there was something about that, and I wanted to be a part of that.
Exactly. How did you become to be with Coach Outlaw back then? Was it just you went and begged him for a job or
Well,
what?
yes. For about a year. I went to school at Ouachita Baptist University, which is in Arkadelphia, Arkansas, and Coach Outlaw would come to practice and watch practice, and I would get to know him through that and get to talk to him. And then the last 2 years I was there, I was a graduate assistant and coach, so to make everything meet up, I worked in a convenience store at night from 11 to 7 on the weekends, and every Sunday morning he would come in there and get a paper. So I would ask him, I would say, hey, you have an opening this week? No, it doesn't have it. So that went on for about a year, and I was about to run out of time because you only have 2 years as a GA, and it was probably July of that year that I was going to have to try to find a job because I was done. And he walked in that morning, and I said, do you have a job? He said, yes, I've got a secondary job. So I interviewed that Monday, and they had a board meeting Monday night, and we started from there. So
there you go. And like I say, y'all been together for 26 years. You went from there. I know y'all did some for a while in Sherman where you had a state championship is there. And then did y'all come to Lufkin from Sherman?
Yes.
Is that where y'all came from?
Yes, we were at Sherman for 7 years. And then in 95, it was our first year here in Lufkin.
Seems like a long time.
It does. It
well,
does seem.
We know that this past winter we lost a great man and a great friend. And I don't envy your job and a big set of shoes to fill, but I know you're up for the task, and I know that Panther Nation is behind you 100%.
Well, it's a little different situation here because a lot of the jobs and the big name jobs like this, they're usually not as good as it was when in February when I took over. A lot of those jobs are there's a reason why they're open, and this wasn't broke. We had good things going on and had been going on for quite some time. So it's a hard job, but it's not as hard as what it would be if it was down a little bit. And we're not down. So
exactly. When we come back, we're going to get into this year's team and a little bit of the characteristics, and then talk a little bit about the schedule and what Coach Quick can shed some light on what to expect from this year. We'll be back in just a minute. You're watching Lufkin Panther TV.
Get a DVR from Consolidated Communications and watch what you want, when you want. Record one episode or the series. Rewind, even pause live TV. DVR, just another great feature with TV service from Consolidated Communications.
The City of Lufkin is committed to protecting our citizens from any danger that threatens our community. The ability to reach you and your family as quickly as possible is essential to ensure that you know about emergencies and disasters. This is why the city is implementing a new program called Everbridge Aware for Citizen Alerts, which is an emergency notification system that allows us to contact you within minutes of an emergency. The alert system is a great step in providing that capability. Remember, an alert Lufkin is a prepared Lufkin.
How fast is fast enough? Fast enough is being able to use your internet service for what you want. Emails, music, video downloads, and more. Consolidated Communications offers internet speeds from 3 megs to 20. So how fast is fast enough? Consolidated has the speed you need.
Welcome back, Panther fans. We're talking with Coach Todd Quick this morning. Coach, going into this year, I know you've had a good spring practice, and just talking to you and and a good summer football program with the 7-on-7. And I know you talked about some positive things coming out of that. What is it that with this year's Lufkin Panther team that you think is going to set them apart from other teams, character-wise, talent-wise, or what?
Well, this year, the one thing that is different about these guys, and there's a small number of seniors. We've got about 23 seniors, and normally we're anywhere from 35 to 43, somewhere in there since we've been here. So it's a smaller group, but it's a close group. They get along, and when you see them together, or you see them out in town, they're always together. So I think it's probably a closer group. You know, when you have 43 seniors, it's tough for all of them to get a lot of playing time. This group's they're all out on the field, and they're all pulling together. Another thing that kind of sets this team apart is we're going to have quite a few of the sophomores up this year. We've probably got 8 or 9 on the varsity roster that are going to be on the field somewhere, whether they're starting or whether they're participating in the special teams. So it's a small group of seniors, and it's a young group of the rest of them, and they're kind of pulling from those seniors, and the seniors are setting the example like you want them to. It's a team that's going to grow, and they really, the identity of it really hadn't been set yet. You know, after we get through into the season 3 or 4 weeks, that we'll kind of be able to tell what it's going to look like and how it's going to turn out.
I know that I think you have 5 and 5 coming back that were starters last year.
Right.
Those kids that are coming up, if you're using a lot of sophomores this year, how are we on depth as far as you got one that goes down or something other like that?
Right. Well, depth is definitely a problem, not a problem, but it is something we're dealing with right now. We've got 3 or 4 of the kids that are actually playing both ways in certain situations in the game. For instance, when we go, we have a long yardage situation defensively. We've got a couple of those receivers, those talented guys that we have on offense. They're going to come over and they're going to play a little bit in that situation. When we go to a goal line package, we've got a couple of linebackers and a defensive end. They're coming over, and we're going to get in that heavy package. So they're not going to be what you would think both ways is playing every down, but there are situations where we have to use those kids, and they'll play a role in that situation.
More of a specialty type package.
Yeah,
type
absolutely.
Things.
Absolutely.
Good. Okay. Every year we say the numbers stay the same, but the faces and the names always change with the kids. And I know I'm guilty of seeing a kid make a play and the name clicks in the head from last year, maybe 2 years ago or something like that. Right. We always have to learn the new names, which is a great thing. Coach-wise, what new coaches do you have? I know you've on the defensive side. Well, obviously somebody had to step up and take your place on the defense. What have we got there this year that we hadn't seen?
We have quite a few new faces, probably more so than we've had since we got here in '95. Just the turnover, and it was such a great place to work, and the program that Coach Outlaw had, you just didn't have a lot of turnover. And we had real good coaches here that they chose to stay just because it was so good and the kids were so good and the administration here is so good. So it's a little different for us this year to have the new faces. Brooke Stafford is going to be our defensive coordinator this year. Mm-hmm. And then the 3 other position coaches he has defensively, they're new, somewhat new. John Cobb was here a couple of years ago. He had left. He was a head baseball coach at another school, and decided that he wanted to come back closer to home and back here to Lufkin, and so he's going to coach our inside linebackers. Anthony Bird comes to us from Trinity. He's a Plano East guy. He played at a school in Oklahoma, UCO in Oklahoma, and he's coaching our outside linebackers. And then a familiar name that you'll recognize was Alton Dixon.
Exactly.
That played here, a great player for us and an outstanding player for A&M. And he's coaching our secondary. We're really excited about those guys. They're young, they're fiery, they demand a lot of things, but they also hug the kids, and it's a good fit for those guys. They're real good on the defensive side. Offensive side, we're blessed with having the same staff that we had. All the positions are the same. They've got that gel that they've had, and they work together really good. You've got Scott Green as the offensive coordinator. Jeff Cook is coaching our offensive line. David Guzman is coaching our running backs, and Matt Knight is coaching the wide receivers. And so that will be the same this year. One other change that we've made on the staff is now Matt Knight will be our special teams coordinator. So he'll handle all of that, all of the kicking game and special teams.
Well, folks, stay with us. When we come back, we're going to talk about this year's schedule and what we can expect to see from that. You stay with us. You're watching Lufkin Panther TV.
When your project needs heavy-duty equipment, there's only one name you need to know: Texas Timberjack. From forestry equipment, mulching, right-of-way clearing, and now construction equipment, we have the machine that'll get the job done right. With stores in Lufkin, Cleveland, and Jasper, we proudly serve all of East Texas. Remember, for professional service and equipment, there's only one name you need to know: Texas Timberjack.
You want to get away from it all? Well, come to Manning. It's only 20 minutes from Lufkin. You can stay in luxury, where romance and relaxation and breakfast rule the day. Experience the lifestyle of the timber barons that once owned this home. By the way, Manning was the second largest town in Angelina County until it burned in 1935. So come see us. You'll be glad you did.
Welcome back, Panther fans. We're still here with Coach Todd Quick this morning. We've been talking a little bit about history, his history with Coach Outlaw, and a little bit of characteristics about the team this year. Coach, one of the things that we get asked as commentators and what have you, and a lot of times, and I really don't have a good answer for them, but on Friday nights when we see the offense lineup, a lot of times we'll have 5 receivers, 4 wide, 1 in the slot, or maybe 4 wide and 1 in the backfield or something like that. But yet we do that time and time again, but yet we're not running the same play every time. And I know we've been asked about the armbands. You know, what is it from the armbands? Is there 5 plays on it? And I know I've asked Coach Green about it, and he said, well, there's over 100 different options.
That's right.
And I said, well, as a student in the heat of the action and what have you, how do you decipher all of that, and how do you get those signals in and things like that? You want to elaborate a little bit on that and help us out? Help me out.
Well, the one thing that you have to look at first is what are they giving you defensively, and that's going to dictate a whole lot of stuff of what you do offensively. Do you have 1 safety high or do you have 2 safeties high? That's going to determine how many people you have in the box. And what we do as an offense is we want to know how many people they have in the box. They have 5 in the box. Well, then we have 5 linemen. We're going to run the football. If they have more than that, then we have to decide whether we're going to run or pass. You put 7 people in the box, and that means you're getting one-on-one coverage in the secondary. Your chances of throwing and completing the ball is a whole lot better than you do is if they're playing 3 defensive backs over 2. So you try to gain an advantage that way. Once we come out and we break the huddle, everybody looks to the side and they get the call from the side. And we use the armband, and there's I think he has 100 and something calls on the band. Now some of them are pretty close, and some of them are things that we won't use that week, but they're on the band so that the kids get used to looking at the same band. So once they come out and they check, what the offensive coaches in the press box are doing is they're looking at the formation or the set that the defense is giving you. And then that narrows down the plays that you're going to run on that. Having 5 wide or having 4 wide with 1 in the backfield, you can run the same plays. You just have to motion to get back to it. So giving them a different look, running the same play out of 5 wide tells the defense that's a different offensive play than it does if you run the same play out of 4x1 or 4 wide and 1 back. So and it kind of goes back and forth the same way with defense. You can give the illusion of something, and you're really not doing anything different. So making them think you are, and you're not overloading your kids with the number of calls you have, that's definitely the key of what we're trying to do. Once we get the play called and once they see the number and they get the band, then they can also add a check with me to where once he picks his foot up and then the defense will show their hand, then we can check to the sideline again and we can we can go opposite, or we can check the play, whatever it is. So there's a lot of options that you have. The key to it is we do the same thing on the practice field as we do in the game. Now it becomes a habit, and it becomes a routine, and they get used to that. You still have some problems. You still have kids that look down on the band, they read the wrong thing. And immediately when the ball snapped and they start out, they think, they messed that up. So the more work at it, the more repetition you get, the less problems that you have. It's not foolproof or not idiot-proof by no means, but most of the time, all the kids are on the same page.
That's a lot of stuff going on in 25 seconds.
It is. You're right. Especially for Coach Green, because they defensively, they're just sitting on there waiting on you. There is no delay a game for the defense.
Right.
So he does have that added thing to make sure they know what it is. Plus, he's got a time clock.
When do we start with, say, the current program that we have? When do you start working with these kids and teach them this system? Does it start back in 7th grade football?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that where it does?
Absolutely.
It have to, yeah.
We have to use the same terminology. And we spend a lot of time in the summer, or we spend time in the spring and during spring ball with the middle school coaches. If they're hearing the same terminology, or you're saying it the same way, those kids will pick that up.
Right.
So it's very important that they use our terminology and use what we do in the 7th grade.
Great. I know I'm obviously familiar with the band and our numbers and what have you that we start out with in 6th grade, and we usually we usually retain about 80% of the kids to high school, and then and once they get to high school, we keep them a little longer,
Right.
what have you. Do you see that in athletics as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. My son's in the 7th grade this year. They have 150 kids. The 9th grade group that came in this year had the same amount, and we're at 71 as 9th graders. It'll go down as sophomores and juniors, and by the time they're seniors, we'll have somewhere between 35 and 45 kids. We're not losing all of them. Some of them are choosing to go somewhere else and do something else.
Other sports.
Right. Or other activities. They're going to be involved in something. All kids are going to be involved in something, and all of it may not be good, but they're going to pick something to be associated with. And so we just have to make sure they have an opportunity that what they are associated with is positive. But most of the time, and sometimes you have back where a kid wants to go full-time basketball or full-time baseball, and you got to let them do that, but you just got to let them have the opportunity early to make their choice, the choice being best for them,
right,
and then let them go and give them all the support they need. But you're not going to keep everybody, and it's not for everybody. It's just like the band's not for everybody.
Right.
I see them out here in the summer, and they're out there marching around out there early in the morning and then late in the afternoons, and it's just not for everybody.
Right.
But we just need to make sure we give them the opportunity to choose.
Folks, stay with us. We'll be back with more from Coach Quick on Lufkin Panther TV.
Strokes occur in all age groups, in both sexes and in all races. However, in African Americans, stroke is more common and deadly, even in young and middle-aged adults, than for any other racial or ethnic group in the United States. Be sure you know the signs and symptoms of a stroke. Sudden numbness or weakness of the face, arm, or leg, especially on one side of the body. Sudden confusion, trouble speaking or understanding speech. Sudden trouble seeing in one or both eyes. Sudden trouble walking, dizziness, loss of balance or coordination. Sudden severe headache with no known cause. Sometimes the warning signs may only last a few minutes and then disappear. Although brief, they identify an underlying serious condition that isn't going away without medical help. Unfortunately, since they clear up, so many people ignore them. Don't be one of those people. Be aware of these warning signs. They can save your life or the life of a loved one. Time is critical. Dial 911.
Each day, more senior citizens find it difficult to care for themselves. The Lufkin Adult Day Center offers a safe and loving environment where peace of mind is provided to families who must leave their loved ones in someone else's care during the day. The Adult Care Center provides a full day of activities, along with monitoring and oversight from a professionally trained staff. Find out more by calling 936-634-1234 or on the web at lufkinadultdaycenter.com. The Adult Day Center from the Salvation Army, doing the most good.
Think fast and learn to recognize a stroke. Does the face look uneven? Does one arm drift down? Does the person's speech sound strange? If you recognize stroke symptoms in yourself or someone around you, call 911 immediately and ask to be taken to the nearest stroke center. Remember, time lost is brain lost. This message brought to you by Memorial's Cardiovascular and Stroke Center of East Texas, Lufkin's first and only certified stroke care facility.
Welcome back, Panther fans. We're here with Coach Todd Quick talking about this year's Lufkin Panthers. Coach, the season's coming up upon us. We got a couple of new teams in the district this year with A&M Consolidated and Bryan High School. We dropped Atascocita and the Kingwood schools. It seems every 2 years we have somebody new that Lufkin's being shuffled around with, but it doesn't seem to be too disruptive. We're pretty much still in the Houston district, so to speak. What do you see on our schedule that's maybe any surprises, any sleepers? What is it that we know about the teams that might be different this year?
Right. Well, starting out in our non-district games, John Tyler, Lee, Knack, and Longview, what you try to do in pre-district games is you try to get a kind of a taste of all that you're going to see. It's just a preparation for the district. You want to play good teams. You want teams that are going to put you in a bind, stretch you a little bit, and just see how your team's going to react. So, going through and blowing everybody out in the pre-district, really you're not getting what you want. You want to put pressure on your offense and defense and see what the weaknesses are, and then be able to adjust that prior to district. So we're going to get that out of John Tyler and the rest of our pre-district schools. District-wide, they come out with the polls, and they pick the teams according to the number of returners and the success from the last year and this. So, and they've got the Woodlands picked, and then they've got us picked second. We do have two new schools, like you said, A&M Consolidated and Bryan. We know history-wise, A&M has always been real athletic. They've been well coached, big numbers, a lot of kids in the program, and they'll be as good or better than what we had in here prior to the last couple of years. The other school is Bryan. It's also got a big numbers of students and a lot of kids coming out. So, and
Lufkin's had some history with Bryan.
Yes.
I know back in the 70s and 80s they were on our pre-district schedule.
Right.
Yeah,
that's right. But history-wise, the thing about those two schools is they've added another Bryan school and they've added another Consolidated school. So they took a hit with the numbers. And it'll take them a little while to get back, but they're going to be well coached, and those kids, they'll be ready to play. They're not some stepchild or anything. They're going to play. We know that. And then the rest of the district falls in just like they always have. It's a week-to-week thing. We're going to have to load up. We're going to play each week, continue to get better. But our concern is what we do here and what we do with our kids. That's the things that we can control. We can't control what they do.
Exactly. Yeah.
But we take care of our business here and have our kids ready to go, then everything will take care of itself.
We know that the coach at John Tyler is down now at Oak Ridge.
That's right.
Do you think that's going to be – we're going to see something different out of Oak Ridge this year?
Oh, absolutely. Because he took his offensive coordinator with him, too.
What's his name?
Coach Rush is
Rush,
his name.
Right.
But no, they'll end up doing the same thing, pretty similar to what we're going to see the first week here coming up Friday. So they'll adjust and they'll adapt and move their kids around and get it to fit their offense.
Mm-hmm. Coach, we know you wear lots of hats now. So you and I were talking earlier. How many different sports do we have at Lufkin High School now that's UIL competitive sports?
I know in the spring it feels like we've got 20 going at the same time. The fall's a little bit slower. We've got volleyball. We've got fall season for tennis. We've got a fall season for the golf team, and then we have the football going. But in the spring, we have boys and girls on all the sports, soccer, baseball, softball. We've got golf. We've got tennis. Everything else is going on in the spring. So we've got a lot of opportunities for the kids here to participate in.
Basketball, of course.
That's right. It laps over.
Right, laps over.
And you end up, basketball actually lap over the end of football season, and then it laps over baseball, soccer, and all that baseball season. So it's right in the middle. But we have a lot of kids participating and a lot of coaches that are getting it on.
Coach, I know where Lufkin is 5A, but we're always on the small end of 5A. And looking at some of the numbers that I think was in Dave Campbell the other day, we're substantially smaller this year than some of these other schools that we're going to be. How does that play into things? I mean, I know Lufkin always plays up,
right?
You know, and as far as talent-wise, Lufkin always has talent,
right.
You know, coming. We've been really fortunate, and with that. But do you see any advantages, disadvantages in maybe not in football, but other sports where that kind of plays into?
Well, you know, with our starting 11 or our starting 5 in basketball or whatever we have, you know, we're competitive with anybody we play. When you're talking about low in numbers, you start talking about the numbers of depth and the backups that you have behind those. You know, our first line, our front line people can compete with anybody in the state. Where it gets you, and where sometimes toward the end of the season when you start having to play the second team and the replacement guys, that's where it kind of gets you. They were talking the other day about the number here. We're at 2180. Which is right on the very end. I think we're third from the bottom,
right?
In 5A. But the kids, they just really don't think
they don't
that.
pay any attention
to
that, do they?
That kid that was a backup and now he is in the starting role, he doesn't see that, you know, as being a problem. He sees this as an opportunity for him to play. So, you know, you can harp on it or worry about it, or you can put him in there and start coaching him and get him where he's right, and that's the approach that we take.
Exactly. Well, Coach, we appreciate your time coming out this morning and letting our Panther fans kind of get to know you on a little more personal basis, what have you. We look forward to our season this year. I know that's all anybody and everybody's talking about now.
Right.
We've got Hurricane Isaac that's looming on the horizon here, and we're dealing with some of the wind this morning. But it looks like, from all indications, we might get a little rain this week, but no disruption of schedule like we had 3 or 4 years ago, where we were playing Monday night, Wednesday night, trying to make them all up.
That's right.
So, but anyway, we look forward to our interviews after the games, after Lufkin puts up big wins Friday night after Friday night,
right.
And we look forward to a good season. We appreciate you coming out. Folks, stay with us. We'll be back with more from Coach Quick on Lufkin Panther TV.
Find it local, find it fast, find it online with the phone book from Consolidated Communications. It's your quick, easy way to connect with local businesses, or stop by Consolidated to pick up a print version. Keep it local with the phone book from Consolidated Communications.
Each day, more senior citizens find it difficult to care for themselves. The Lufkin Adult Day Center offers a safe and loving environment where peace of mind is provided to families who must leave their loved ones in someone else's care during the day. The Adult Care Center provides a full day of activities, along with monitoring and oversight from a professionally trained staff. Find out more by calling 936-634-1234 or on the web at lufkinadultdaycenter.com. The Adult Day Center from the Salvation Army, doing the most good.
Think fast and learn to recognize a stroke. Does the face look uneven? Does one arm drift down? Does the person's speech sound strange? If you recognize stroke symptoms in yourself or someone around you, call 911 immediately and ask to be taken to the nearest stroke center. Remember, time lost is brain lost. This message brought to you by Memorial's Cardiovascular and Stroke Center of East Texas, Lufkin's first and only certified stroke care facility.
Turn your TV into a music machine with Consolidated Communications TV service. Hit your remote control, tap your feet to more than 45 all-digital music channels. Plus, you receive hundreds of TV channels, too. The TV package from Consolidated Communications just plain rocks.
Folks, we want you to join us each and every week on Lufkin Panther TV to watch the Lufkin Panthers take on their opponents each week. And if you have any questions or anything like that, go to the website, go to the Lufkin Panther TV website or the Lufkin Panther Sports website, and comment there. We'd love to hear from you. Once again, that website is lufkinpanthersports.com. And until we see you Friday night, take care and God bless.
Lufkin.